Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Queen of Web Academy channel. In this tutorial, I will break down two essential topics in CSS, display and position. I'll break it down in a way that even a complete beginner can understand. All right, we will go through real examples as we code together. So let's dive right in. So very first thing, I've created my folder and I name it display and position. Then inside that folder, I have index.html, then style.css. So inside my HTML, so I have written my HTML syntax, right? So let's start with the display property. You see, display property controls how elements appear on the page layout. The most common values are block, inline, we have inline block, and also none. All right, so let's start. I'm going to be declaring span, and then I will give all of them a general class name of box and also another class name that is specific to each of these styling. So I'm going to start with block. So here now, inside this element has two class names. One is box and the other name is block. Then inside here, I'll put block so that we can understand it on our page. Meanwhile, we need to know that span has like inline elements by default. But by the time we start adding all these styling properties to it, we see different behaviors that it's going to have. So let's open our web page. All right, so now I'm going to edit all of them. I want this one to be inline, then I want the next one to be inline block, then the last one I'm going to change it to none, and then we can go to CSS straight. All right, so first thing, let's link our CSS to our HTML file. So you can see all of them are standing side by side. So now the first styling we want to give them, we'll first style the box. So because all of them has this property, so I'm going to style them together, and then I'll give them padding 10 pixel, margin 10 pixel also. I will give the background color, any background color. So let me just then give them border. So all this is just to distinct each element from the other one, right? So let me give them 2 pixel solid, and then which color? Black. Okay. So now having done this, they are still standing together. So let's go to block so that this way you understand how block elements work. So all this styling now, because all of them has a class name of box, so they are all carrying the styling. But when you come here, every property you add to this block will only apply to this first one that we named block. Oh, let me change this color. So that whatever we have on it will be very clear. I've forgotten that you have a content in each box. So, and I will just say display block. So immediately I say display block, it's going to push others down and maintain the whole width for itself alone. That is what block does. So whenever you want, you don't want your element to have other things beside it, just give it a display of block. Even if you give it to the second one in between, it's going to start from another line, leave others at the first line, start it live from another line and maintain that width for itself alone. All right, so let's go to the next one. So which is inline, and I'll just say display inline. So you will see that nothing changes. It is just there. One thing you need to know about inline is that, okay, let's go to the next one so that you can, yeah. So I'm giving this a display of inline block now. One thing that actually, you will see that it doesn't leave this place too. But one thing that differentiates between inline and inline block is that inline block can take width and height. Meanwhile, inline cannot take width. So let me say I'm giving it 100 pixel. So can you see that now? So, but if you do the same thing for the inline, you would see that it won't appear as if you did anything there. So it's not going to be effective on inline element. So any element that the display is inline will not take width or height. So that is the main difference. All right. Then let's go to the last one. So when you give it a display of none, it is going to hide it from the screen. That is just the work. So in summary, you will see that block elements take the full width available and start on a new line. Inline elements stay in line with others, but you can't set width or height for them. Inline block, it stays in line also, but allows you to set width and height. That is the main difference. Then display none, it hides the element completely from the page. So please write all this down. So if this is making CSS easier for you so far, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe so that you won't miss out on more beginner friendly tutorials that are going to be coming up soon, inshallah. Now let's look at position in CSS. You see, position tells the browser how to place an element. The common values are we have static, relative, absolute, and fixed. So let's go back to our HTML. Let me just hide this. I'll comment this out. So first thing, I want to declare a div and give it a class name of wrapper. So like I want to wrap other elements inside this particular one. So it is inside this one that I'm going to have other elements. So another div again, and I will give all of them box too. Then this one, I'm going to give it relative because that is the position I want to give this one. Relative, and I will write relative. Okay, so it's taking the styling of the relative we have to 3 in our CSS. So for this one, I'm going to change this to absolute. So absolute. And then for this one, I'm going to make it fixed. Okay, now, so let's go to CSS and style it the way we want to style it. Let me just comment this out. So for our box, in this case, first thing, let's style our wrapper. So I'm going to giving it, this wrapper itself, I'll be giving it a position of relative. I'm going to give it height, say 300 pixel. Then I'll be giving it background color. Then let me give it margin top. All right, so now let's style box. I still want to give it this padding of 10 pixel, text align center. Let me reduce the, okay, let me give it width. I didn't declare width here before. Width of 100 pixel. Yeah, then height 100 pixel too. Okay, what do I need to remove? It's fine. Margin is not necessary because I'm still going to declare top and all of that. Okay, so now we have this. Before we move too far, let me explain what this position that I just used in the wrapper means. Position relative moves element relative to its normal spot. Like this wrapper as it is now. This wrapper is here and you can all see the space between this and this. If I had, for it to be glaring, let's say I say top and then I say 30 pixel, you will see that it's moved down in a way that it's moved down 30 pixel away from its normal spot. That is just what relative does. All right. But we don't need that inside this wrapper. We'll be using that inside our box with a class name of relative. So I'm going to say position relative. Now, note this relative, this is where it is. So when I give it, let's say top 20 pixel, and it's going to move 20 pixel away from its normal spot. That is relative. I'm going to give it left too. I will say left and I will still say 20 pixel. So the same thing, it will move 20 pixel away from its normal spot. That is just what relative does. Let me remove this background color and give all of them different background color. So this relative now, I'll be giving it a background color of, let's say blue. Okay, so now let's go to the next one, which is absolute. So when you declare position absolute, instead of this one that moves that element in relative to its normal spot, position absolute move that element in position to its parent, in position to its parent. In this case, that is wrapper. All right. So now let me give it the same top that I gave this relative here. Let me first give it. So now I want to tell it that, okay, I will still return it to 0, but let me first write and then let me say 20 pixel. So please, I have to go back and change it to a small letter here so that you see, because I have the class name starting with a capital letter. So the styling I added to it does not show. So you need to be very careful. So position absolute, then you, so immediately I said absolute, you see that it appears on top of this very one because it's going to work in line with this. So it's going to stand absolute, like it will take the element out of the normal flow. Are you getting it now? So it's not going to be with its mate again. So it's going to take it out of the normal flow and places it relative to the nearest position parent, which in this case is this wrapper. So for this top now, let me say I want to give it 20 pixel. So it comes up here because it is reacting to this, and this is 20 pixel away from this, what is it called, from the wrapper itself, not from its normal position. You will see now, by the time I had, let me say right, and then I will give it 20 pixel too, so it will jump it to the other side here. Let me quickly give it background color so that you can see it distinctively. Okay, so that is it here now. So it will jump here, maintaining just 20 pixel away from right in position to its parent, which is this one that has this purple background. So unlike this one, if I give this one, if I change this one from left to right and I say right, the relative, and I say right 20 pixel, so it's going to, this is where it was before, so it's going to move 20 pixel away from its normal spot, and that is why it outflows the parent. Want to believe you are getting it. So relative works with itself in relative to its normal spot where it was before. Why absolute works in relative to its own parent. So now let's go to fixed. So position fixed. So when you ask a position to be fixed, the fixed element will stick, it will stick to a spot on the screen. No matter where you scroll it to, it will maintain that spot. So now I want to tell this one that let me give it right. Let me say right. It's moved to that. So this one is working with screen. Are you getting now? So this one is working with screen, not the parent now. And I will say bottom. So can you see what I just said now? So because I said 10 pixel away from the right and 10 pixel away from bottom. So this one is going to be working with the screen. And this is where it will be, whether you enlarge the screen or you make the screen smaller. As all these ones are busy moving here and there, this one will just maintain that spot, maintaining its relationship with screen. We usually use this position fixed when we are doing something like header. So we use this for header because in most cases we want our header to be fixed. Just like this is what header means on a web page. And as you are scrolling or doing anything, header is supposed to maintain its own lane like that. Just look at our uh, code editor. This place is part of the header, so it is fixed. Whether you are scrolling down or up, it maintains its position. So every other thing that is flowing will just be flowing under it. That is where it will be. It is fixed like that. So that is what position fixed does to an element. So let me give it its own background color. All right. So this is exactly what you want to learn today. And inshallah, in the next lesson, I'm going to give you practicals on how they are useful on websites. What do we use them to achieve? How are they actually used? So you need to know that understanding how display and position work gives you powerful control over your layout. Like it is the foundation for creating beautiful, responsive designs, such that whether you are using a large screen to view your web page or you are using a very small as an Android phone, or you are viewing your web page on a very big television screen, how do you want your website to appear? How beautiful do you want them to appear? And that is these are one of the things that help you position and display your elements correctly. All right, Jazakumullah khairan for watching. If you have learned something new today, please click the like button, subscribe to support this channel, and share this with someone learning CSS. All right, and don't forget, comment below which one confused you before and what have you learned today differently. All right, bye.